Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me here again today. So this morning I woke up with a very strong message that has to do with our heart center. And the message is that during this time, but especially over the course of the next few years, it's going to be vitally important to us to operate from our heart center as much as we possibly can. That means going back into the heart as often as we can through gentle reminders to shift our consciousness when we have veered off course. And so this morning when I was waking up to this message, it was coming through in a way that was communicating to me through this download, this transmission of light that was coming in, that in order for us to maintain our cohesiveness in our heart center, which has its own electromagnetic field, by the way, it is its own energy source, if you will, and it is the point for which we enter into the astral plane, and from there can go into the many dimensions that are available to us based on frequencies. So when I was receiving this information this morning, it was coming through in a way that was being conveyed for not just the physical vessel, but also for our external reality. And what that meant to me was making sure that we are bringing our heart-centeredness into our reality. So in other words, it's not enough for us to just feel into our own heart center and try to become one with our heart and tune in and commune with our heart. It's also important for us to bring that heart-centered awareness into our reality in other ways that are going to support us in our day-to-day experience. And so what I was shown this morning was my workspace for my artwork. And so yesterday I had gone into my bedroom, which is where I do my art. And, you know, sometimes I do my transmissions from there for these videos because it holds a very high light frequency. And sometimes the energy is just more supportive in that space. And so when I went into that room yesterday, I had put a bunch of papers and stuff as I'm working on my business taxes on my desk, and my iPad was on my desk, and my paintbrushes were drying on my desk. There's a lot of stuff going on my desk. And I remember walking in and it immediately hitting me in the heart center and it feeling very muddy, and it felt very chaotic. And in a second, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I needed to straighten up those papers and bring them back to my work desk, which is down here where I am in the same space that I'm recording from. And just tidy up my desk, put my iPad back in its place, and just make sure that my desk is clear. Why is that important? It's important because when we clear up our space and we make sure that we're keeping our space tidied up, we're getting rid of clutter. If there's something that is no longer being used, we can donate it to one of the organizations that will, you know, be happy to send a truck and come pick it up from your house. I've done this ever since I moved into this house for the last 3 years. I keep giving stuff away. And so it's important for us to clutter our space in order for us to keep ourselves in a higher state vibrationally. Because with these higher, faster moving energies, they're moving so incredibly quickly that our mood through our feelings, because everything is feelings now, there is no more thinking, right? We're not going to think it into being or into existence. We're feeling it all. We're feeling it into existence. This is the same thing with law of attraction. It's important to feel what you want into your reality as opposed to just thinking it into your reality, which is why vision boards don't work, because vision boards are visual and they create a thought in the mind, and then the mind becomes activated through the vision board. And usually that's all we're doing is tuning in with the mind, we're tuning in with the thoughts, and it will not manifest until we put a strong desire, an intention, attention behind those thoughts of what it is that we want, right? So we have to do the same thing with our space. We have to hold our space in a high state of appreciation. And so in appreciating our state, our reality around us, right? The room that we're in, the space that we're in, we want to hold appreciation to it, for it. And we also want to make sure that we're keeping it decluttered. That is a really good way of keeping our energy body in a high positive vibrational state. Okay, so that's tip number one for maintaining a higher frequency in your body, which will then make your oscillation field of your electromagnetic field run faster. The oscillation rate, rather, will become faster, which will keep you in a higher frequency and allow more light in to replace the distortion that we are letting go of. Okay, so that's tip number one for assisting and supporting our heart center. Tip number two for supporting our heart center would be to look for creative ways to activate those higher light frequencies, the higher states of consciousness within us, so that we are shifting our reality through our own conscious awareness higher. And what that would look like is, so this morning when I was waking up, I woke up in a very excited state because I was receiving this information in on this talk that I'm having with you now. And it was very exciting because I thought, oh, I'm going to be back on YouTube again with more to share for my family, my soul family, my cosmic family, my family of light, whatever you would like to refer to yourselves as. You are all of that to me and so much more. And so I thought, wow, this is so exciting. And then as I got up and I got out of bed, my cat got sick she must have eaten too fast this morning because she's still unwinding from the programming of being a feral cat with no food, having to seek it out. So she has a tendency to eat too fast and to overeat. So I make sure that I'm doing what I need to do in order to help her unwind that program. But she ate too fast this morning and came back into my room and went onto the windowsill to look out the window because the cats love to do that. My makeup station is right in front of that, a window that looks out to the backyard. And she actually vomited on my windowsill. And so I had to clean that up, which didn't make me too happy, but I wasn't upset with her because I was understanding where it was coming from. And so as I was tuning into cleaning up the mess, and I was talking to her, telling her it was okay, I suddenly started to tune into the collective consciousness and the collective community where they reside with everything that's taking place with Russia and the Ukraine. And in tapping into that collective, I suddenly felt sad, and I felt all of this depression coming through. And in that moment of awareness that my energy had changed in a nanosecond, it was so fast, I held this awareness that said, oh, I shifted somehow out of this happy, joyful state. I needed to transmute some of that distortion through my field, which is what we do. We all do that, not just me, but I'm aware of it from doing this work for a long time. And so after I had that awareness, I suddenly said to myself, okay, well, what could we focus on to bring our vibration back up? Because we certainly don't want to play here, because it will set the tone for the rest of my day. And I'm working today, and I wanted to bring through this video for you. So it would definitely not be a good thing for me to reside in a lower timeline and feel impacted by all those thoughts and emotions within the collective consciousness that are feeling fear towards what is playing out. So I suddenly started to think about what art projects I was going to do next. And I started to get excited about a knitting kit that I bought. It's actually a crocheting kit to make a crocheted mandala blanket. Because I want to expand myself into the world of crocheting. I've always wanted to try to crochet. I did when I was younger, a little bit off and on, nothing great, but this seemed like a great project. It's a kit. It's going to come once a month for the next 10 months. And it's going to come at a slow enough pace that I could work it into everything else that I'm doing. And it's really exciting to me to have that kit coming my way, because it's just another aspect for creative outlet that I have, right? And so I'm supporting myself in each moment. In the past, it used to be sessions with mentors who were showing me the way. That was what fed and nourished my soul. And so I would invest in myself and work with mentors or take classes. Speaking of which, tomorrow I have a powerful Healing Through Soul Contracts class for those of you that are interested in soul contracts, especially with everything that we've been through with the COVID story, and now with the Ukraine and Russia playing out. It's all soul contracts at play. So for those of you that are interested, I will leave the link below. You can go to my website and look at the details there, and the registration tab is there. But so I started to get excited about the possibilities of creating this quilt. And then it's not a quilt, it's a blanket. But maybe at some point I will go into quilting, and I will go into knitting, since my head is sidetracking back to those. That's just how this whole thing works, right? I'm building a pathway now into the higher timelines, because I'm feeling into my creator states, which is what we need to do. And we need to keep activating those creative states in whatever way we can. So that's tip number 2 for keeping ourselves in the higher timeline. Okay, and activating our heart center, coming into heart-centric consciousness, so that we're continually shifting ourselves back. It's a redirection, if you will, of our attention. If you think of racehorses, some of them have the blinders that are on the sides of their eyes. Why do they do that? Is because some horses, not all horses, but some horses can easily get distracted, especially if they're a horse that is in their head, and they may not be paying as good attention to their rider as they need to be. And it's kind of like Dory from Finding Nemo. They'll be on the path and go, oh, look over there, or oh, look over there. And then they have to be brought back into center, and all of a sudden they're over here again, right? And so we as humans do the same thing. So it's kind of like putting the blinders on. We have to have this awareness that we sometimes get distracted, okay, and we'll be easily swayed into something else. All right. And so this brings me into the next point, okay, which is staying divinely neutral. Now, divine neutrality, you've heard me talk about this so many times in the past, especially those of you that have been with me for a while. And yeah, I know I've been told, oh, Maria, you make it sound so easy, and it's the hardest thing for me to do, to stay aware and to stay conscious. And to that, I would say, yes, I probably do, because I have been practicing this. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, diligently and seriously for the last 3 years, I have really kicked it up in my spiritual quest to ascend my consciousness into the highest states possible for me. And that was when my oversoul aspect, the ninth dimensional Niburian faith came in, who's a frequency activator, intermediary, transcending humanity, right? So I offer a frequency, I offer light codes, codes through my eyes, codes through my voice, codes through the words that I'm speaking. And so everything is focused in high vibrational, and that came through August of 2019, okay, is when I integrated that higher aspect of myself. And then that really forced me on my path to a deeper level, okay? And so how we work with that is coming back into the heart consistently. We have to have consistency, and we have to have awareness to everything that we're creating, which is why I'm always reminding about words. Words are very, very important, okay? You very rarely ever hear me hear the word release out of my mouth. I will say letting go, let go of, as opposed to release, because to lease something is to bring it to you. We're leasing it, right? We're gonna have it for a while. And then to release it would be to keep leasing it over and over and over again, okay? It's not the release that we think, it's the play on words. Remember, everything is reversed and everything is opposite, right? So I try very, very hard in my effort to be super conscious of everything that I'm doing and what I'm bringing here through on my channel, to not speak in a lower vibrational way, so that I am imparting the highest light codes through my frequency of what is coming through. And so, of course, with with maintaining a heart-centric state of being, I have to constantly remind myself to come back into my heart, to be aware of what I'm speaking, to be aware of what I'm thinking. And that's what it takes. So it does take practice, and it does take consistency. And to be heart-centered is a practice in itself, okay? And so it's reminders, and it's listening to what we're saying, not saying the word hope, because hope is a low vibration, saying the word faith, because faith lifts you up, right? And just being aware, having gratitude. But then we could have appreciation, and appreciation is a higher vibrational word. We hold gratitude on the way to finding appreciation. So it just plays on words. And when we start to see from that point of creation everything we're doing, we don't need those blinders anymore to keep us on the straight and narrow path. We are consistent in our thoughts, our words, and our actions. So what it takes is, it takes practice. It also takes a desire. And it also takes the will to set your intention, attention, paying attention to what is transpiring in your reality, understanding that when we say something, we're not going to punish ourselves. We're not going to judge ourselves for getting it wrong, right? We don't do that. We don't judge ourselves, but we merely go, oh, look at that. I did not catch that. It came out, and let me correct it now. Let me auto correct that. Okay. I will cancel, delete, and restore what I just said. And I'll choose this newer, higher aligned thought that I want to have, that is going to amplify my state of beingness. And that's what that is. And why is this important, especially now, and especially since we're dealing with this situation with Russia and the Ukraine? The reason it's important is because we don't want to take a side, okay? From the ninth dimensional state, everyone is right. No one is wrong. There is no victim in this, because the experience is everything that was chosen and how it needs to play out, how it must play out. And through soul contracts, every individual, regardless of where they stand in this whole thing, are playing out perfectly where their soul has chosen through the blueprint it came in with, okay? And then from another perspective, we could look at this and say, it's not for us to judge, because if we are judging and we're saying Russia is wrong, the Ukraine is right, or the Ukraine is bad and Russia is right, however you want to look at it, we're taking sides. We're playing in the game of separation again, guys. We cannot do that. We have to see from the point of our creation every single little thing that we are committing our attention to, that we are putting our heart into, okay? Which is why you will not see me stand for either side. I stand for all. I don't stand for one thing. I stand for the world. I stand for humanity. I stand for Gaia. I stand for the sun. I stand for the moon. I stand for every planet. I stand for you. I stand for me. Okay. Even the souls that are doing the worst things out there are doing so based on a soul contract. And every single thing comes back to this now moment of awakening. This now moment of ascension. Okay, every single thing comes back to this ascension moment. And so when we look at it from that perspective, we can see how there is no such thing as bad. There is no such thing as wrong. There is no such thing as right. There is no such thing as good. Everything is as it must be. And we cannot play into the game of separation. Otherwise, guess what? We have dropped ourselves back down into the 3D duality, and we're going to reattach that in our field, and we're going to try to manage what is taking place through grids that are not even accessible anymore, that are not even available anymore. And it's going to deepen the frustration within, and it's going to trigger a lot of stuff taking place within. Okay, we have to let this go because it is part of the process that's going to help us let go of duality and polarity. It's part of the process that's going to help us let go of judgment. It's part of the process that's going to help us end the game of separation. There's separation in everything. It's not just race and religion. It's in what teams you're choosing when you're choosing sports. Okay, it's in everything. Every single thing holds separation energy, and it's up to us to choose neutrality so that we're not feeding that old system, that old paradigm, that old abuse of power. It's up to us to not feed that. It's up to us to create a new shift. It's up to us to create a new vision. And how do we do that? We do that by coming into our heart center. We do that by being conscious. And when we go unconscious, we bring ourselves back into consciousness again. We don't let ourselves go unconscious. And you'll keep doing that until you don't let yourself go unconscious anymore. But you will play that game and vacillate back and forth, which is why it's so important to let go of the judgment, because it's really irrelevant. It's not important, has no bearing, no validity, no importance to it. Okay. So this is how we work with this. And I will tell you, just like I've been telling you, the chaos is coming, and I have told you in other videos that we have about 10 years to work through everything that is breaking apart, deconstructing, disintegrating in these higher light frequencies. It's all going to be pulled apart, and we're going to have to create new. And it's doing it for the benefit of our ascension process. It's not happening to us, it's happening for us, right? We can't look at it like, oh my God, this is awful, what they're doing to us. But no, it's happening for us so we can continue to choose higher, because when we choose higher, our reality continues to change. We don't think it's going to change because we're so used to believing that what out there is real. But it's what's going on out there is not real. It's only real based on the creation that we're holding within, that is real, and we have to play into it. So over the course of the next 10 years, that's where the real healing is going to take place. And this is the year it's going to happen in, because we're in a 6th year, which is about love, harmony, relationships, coming home to the heart energy. Okay. And so it's going to be challenging. These next couple of years are going to be challenging. We're going to see a lot of good stuff, but we're also going to see a lot of stuff that's not going to be too good, that's going to feel chaotic. We're going to see people at their very, very best. We're also going to see people that are going to be at their very worst. Okay. And so what I want to say is the next point in this, the next tip I can offer you is to not be someone who is out there sharing misinformation. We do not do that in the higher timelines. Okay, that's why you never see me sharing any of that stuff, because it's not part of what we need to do. We need to hold and anchor these higher light frequencies. That's why I asked you yesterday in my video yesterday to make a commitment to me. I will make a commitment to you. We will all make a commitment to each other that we're going to do this together, but we're going to do it from the highest creator point available to us. Because that is what is important right now in this now moment, that we are creating from that highest perspective. We have to keep bringing our A game. We cannot wait for somebody else to do that. We can't wait for somebody else to come and save us. There is nobody saving us. We have to make the choice. We have to wake up. We can look at what's playing out in the world anywhere you look, not just overseas, but anywhere, what's in our backyard. My friend came home and told me that she spoke with someone who works at Target, and the employee told her that they raised the prices right just after the Super Bowl, like the day after the Super Bowl, they were told to raise the prices on all their inventory. So she said socks went from $5 to $7. And so, you know, people that weren't paying attention after the Super Bowl to the price increase, I know I was aware of it, because when I went shopping, I was like, this is ridiculous. These prices are outrageous, right? But people that are not aware will think that, oh my gosh, those prices were increased based on what's happening now overseas. And that's not the case. Is it possible the prices are going to keep going up? Yeah, because it's a great excuse, isn't it, for inflation? Yeah, it certainly is. And so, you know, we have to look at it for its clarity, through clarity, and see everything that we're creating. The only way that we're going to navigate through this and be successful navigating through this is if we stay in our heart center. So that means that no matter what, and this is my next tip, no matter what, no judgment. No matter what, we love everything. We love everything. Everything. Good or bad, doesn't matter. Divine neutrality, doesn't matter. Because everything has a purpose. Everything has a purpose. Maybe write that out, tape it to your mirror, and use it as a daily reminder. Everything has a purpose. Okay? This journey is about us. It's about us on an individual level and also on a collective level. It's about us coming back into our heart center and finding what is true for us. It's about us coming back into our heart center and being completely transparent in the way that we live our life and the way that we are navigating this reality, and working through whatever distortion we are carrying in whatever way that's going to be. And for those of you that feel that you are struggling, I opened up my Ascension Alchemy Mastery School portal this morning. So if you feel like you are struggling and you feel like you need support, that's a great place. It's an incredible community to be part of. We meet live twice a month, and I have supplemental audio files that I give you for updates as to what's going on. And then for those who opt for the higher tier, because there are 2-tier level memberships, we have an extra workshop once a month, and that would be the workshop that we're having tomorrow. So if you joined my community today, at the tier 2 level, you would actually get the workshop that we're having tomorrow for the soul contracts. So just a thought there. And also for the members of my online community, I discount my session rates so that if you felt like you were needing some one-on-one time with me, you do get a very nicely discounted rate on your one-on-one sessions. So I take care of that community. I don't offer discounts to the general public, but for those that are very serious about doing their work and join the community, let me put it to you this way. The community is such a high-level community that it's almost not necessary to even have a session with me because we're doing so much work, right? We're meeting twice a month in that community. And those community members know that if they have a question, they can always send it to me. If it's something that's too much for me to write back in an email, I will address it in the next live class, so they always get the answer to it. So it's just a great community to be in. So because of the events that are unfolding and playing out, I have opened that registration portal. I will leave a link below so that you can take a look at that in case it resonates with you and you would like to participate in some way. But this is how we're navigating these highs and lows. And this is not just now, this is going to be for a while. We're going to be experiencing, blissful states, and then we're going to be experiencing some chaotic states, but it's all for the purpose of us unwinding more from this lower level construct as we're all shedding these grids and templates and blueprints and mappings and whatever you want to call it, matrices, right? Everybody uses a different term. So whatever you want to call it, we're shedding it all out of our field. All right. So it is a place for us to come together if you should desire to look at the Mastery School community. So I think that's it for today. I just want to come in and offer you these tips that can bring you back into your heart center, that can help realign you quickly. I know the work is challenging. I know. And when you have people in your life, especially if you're living with people that are still connected to the third dimensional reality and are not wanting to see a higher perspective or shift, it could be even more challenging, which is why the community can be super beneficial. So I'm going to continue to make these videos as often as I possibly can. As I said, I got this download of information this morning that I needed to come on and speak with you about staying in your heart and give you some tips on how to do that it would make it easier for you to be able to navigate your reality. Okay, I am going to do the live. I just have to figure out a date for that within my schedule. If you guys have anything that you would like me to do a video on for you, please drop it in the link below. If you have any tips on how you stay in your heart center, please feel free to drop them below. I love when you guys interact with me. It just makes this more fun for me. If you think there are others out there that might benefit from this video, as always, please share it. And if you found something that you liked, please give it a thumbs up. It bumps me up in the algorithms. Everything that we can do to engage with each other, liking the video, commenting on the video, just bumps me up in the algorithms. More people will see me. And that's the purpose of all of this, right? That's the purpose of why I do this, is to give support where I could give support to the collective consciousness, because everybody is going through the same thing. There's not one person on the earth that's not touched by this, in the same way there wasn't one person that was not touched by COVID, right? So stay in your heart centers. Let's do this. We got this. Let's keep rocking it. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for all the support that you give me, all the love. I feel you. I see you. I'm sending it back to you. It's always transmitting to you. Believe it or not, when I'm not on here, even, when I'm not on here for long periods of time, you're always in my thoughts. There's never a time where you're not in my thoughts. So I'm always sending you a transmission of love, through the airwaves, just for our coming together, even when we're not here. Okay. So I wish you a wonderful, whatever it is that you're doing. Know that I love you so, so, so very much. And I will see you again real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.